Hare Krishna, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you all for being here. I think this boat is a little more fancy than the Jaladuta. What do you think? Yeah, so when I think of Srila Prabhupada's mission, I believe that he wanted to create millions of saintly, pure-hearted devotees of Krishna to bless the world. And I wanted to just share a little story that I think, as Malati shared a story that's more recent, I think this is an important story also. It's a Boston story. And once we were on Harinam Sankirtan here in Boston, I think it was on Boylston Street, and this very gentle devotee was leading the kirtan, and a man came up, maybe he was drunk, but this man came up and just really punched him in the stomach. And this devotee kind of fell over, and then, kind of long story short, what happened was, this man was arrested, it went to court, and the man claimed that the devotee had punched him, and he was the victim. And the judge, this is the point of the story, the judge looked at this saintly devotee who was so gentle. The judge looked at this gentle devotee and he said, "But how is it possible of this man?" And so he just threw out the case, just by the saintly demeanor of this devotee. So I think this is important to understand Prabhupada's mission. This is what he asked of us, to become saintly representatives of Krishna consciousness all over the world. And I wanted to share something also. In the Prabhupada Lilamrita, the second volume, Planting the Seed, I think this story is significant just because of the fact that Satsvarupa Maharaj put this story in the book. So one of the early devotees there at 2nd Avenue had a dream of Prabhupada. And in this dream, Srila Prabhupada was dancing and beautiful and young, looking maybe like Lord Nityananda, maybe like Nuniketan Ramdas, who's described in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, but he was young and beautiful and vibrant. And the devotee asked him, "But Prabhupada, why don't we see you like this?" And Prabhupada said, "Because then you would only follow me for my beauty." So I think it's so interesting that Prabhupada came on this boat in a very unassuming way. He came across the 7 seas, he came on the Jaladuta in a nondescript little freighter ship, and he slipped into the US, slipped into New York as just a little old man, as Mukunda Maharaj says in his interview in Yadavar Prabhu's wonderful movie. He says, he looked like I should help him. He looked like he needed help. So, it's so interesting that Prabhupada came almost in that guise of an unassuming little old man who needed help. And to me, I reflect back on a verse in the Srimad Bhagavatam 7th canto, where the materialistic demoniac teachers of Prahlad Maharaj were complaining about Prahlad Maharaj. And they said that Vishnu is like an axe who's come to cut down our great tree of our great family. And Prahlad Maharaj is like the blade of that axe, So Srila Prabhupada also once spoke of this, that his mission was actually to cut down the demoniac society and replace it with a saintly, Krishna-conscious society of saintly, kind-hearted devotees who would transform the world. So once he described that he is like that blade, and that his Western disciples were like a branch from the tree of that demoniac society, and together with that branch of the tree, he would be able to cut down. And I'm not saying Western society, because there were things Prabhupada appreciated about Western society. He appreciated the good work ethic, that was not caste conscious, but just the demoniac strains in society that we see both in the East and in the West. So how beautiful is that this is Prabhupada's mission, to cut down the demoniac society. And remember that interview with Srila Prabhupada where the kind of arrogant reporter in London asked him, why have you come here? Like, we know everything here in London, why have you come? And Prabhupada said, I have come to teach what you have forgotten. And I was thinking that's so beautiful, right? But I was thinking it's more than that. He came to teach what we've forgotten, yes, but also what we long for. Krishna Bhakti Rasa. That's what he came to give us. What our hearts really have always longed for. And so we think of Prabhupada as the precious cargo, the passenger on the Jaladuta boat. But really, again from Srimad Bhagavatam, we understand that he's the captain of the ship. He's not just a precious cargo of the ship. He's the captain of the ship who can deliver us across the ocean of ignorance, and which diminishes all the good qualities of the Kali Yuga, which diminishes all the good qualities of a human being. And hearing these stories of, one last Vrindavan story, it's very short. Okay? So this is a sweet, I just thought I should share this. So once we were in Vrindavan and we made some gopi dolls that were supposed to go on the altar with Krishna, Balaram, and the gopis. And when we put them in Prabhupada's room when he was out on his walk, and when he came back, he became like, he had been in an angry mood because he'd been very ill. But when he came back, he changed into like a little boy. And this is so beautiful, I wanted to share with all of you. He gestured toward the gopis, and Shrutikirti, you were there. We were all in his room, this ragtag band of excuses for disciples, really. And Prabhupada gestured to the gopis like this, and he said, you are like them. You are all like them. And I was like, whoa, talk about Prabhupada's amazing, Uttamadhikari vision, seeing us to be one day maybe like the gopis. So thank you also.